Today, in this beautiful place created by the Queen of Austria, we have gathered here to perform a puja to the Sahasrara. When we enter into the realm of Sahasrara, then only we have right to do the Sahasrara. Before this, nobody talked about Sahasrara. Nobody did any puja to Sahasrara. This is your privilege that you are in the realm of Sahasrara and that you can do this puja. Perform it. It's your right. You are chosen for this. It's a very privileged place for you to enter into the Sahasrara of the Virat, to reside in the brain as cells of that Sahasrara. Let us see what is the quality of the cells of Sahasrara. These are specially created cells through the working of the Swadhisthana. Passing through all the chakras, when they arrive at Sahasrara, they are equipped to handle the brain's activity without getting involved into other elements in the body. In the same way, the Sahajogis are not to be involved with the other cells, human beings of the body of this universe. The first thing that happens to a Sahajogi at the Sahasrara level, that he becomes beyond Atit. So many things he transcends. Kalatit, he goes beyond time. Time is his slave. If you have to go somewhere, then suddenly you discover that everything is working about the same time when you are able to do it. Like you are, say, to catch a train, and you arrive late at the station, you find the train is late for you. Things work out in such a way that you feel they are all acting for your complete convenience. So you go beyond time, kala. Then you go beyond dharma. Dharma means dharma becomes part and parcel of your being. Nobody has to tell you, you do this or you do that. You just don't do it. Whatever you have to do it, you do it. When you go beyond all these dharmas, that are the human dharma is that his attention gets attracted either with lust, greed, at something, and then he cannot pull out his attention. But now the attention becomes dharma-atit, means the attention loses its dharma. The dharma of the attention are such that we have to put the dharmas taught by the prophets to control them. Because we are coming from the lowest level. So these dharmas exist in our being and start showing. And when they attack us, then we have to have some measures to control it. So we build up our dharmas, our rules and regulations, and control them, the dharmas which have come to us from lower conditions. This is the greatness of human beings, that they have made their own dharmas established on top of the lower dharmas. Like carbon has, say, 4 valencies. It has to be in 4 valencies. It acts according to the 4 valencies. It cannot make it 6. But human beings can make those valencies established which are supposed to be representing the human dharma, the Manav dharma. But with the Kshetrara set, the attention loses that quality. Means you don't have need, there's no need to put dharmas, restrictions upon yourself. You don't have to discipline, but you get disciplined automatically. That is the first sign of a person who is belonging to Nirmal religion. That is pure. Attention doesn't get attached or attacked by anything whatsoever. It is so pure. Like the lotus leaf, the water doesn't stay on it. So you become kalatit, you become dharmatit, you become gunatit. Means the 3 moods in which you are born, left, right and center, you go beyond. The left one is the one by which you have emotional attachments of your attention. The second one is the physical and the mental attachments. And the third one, the attachment to the dharma. Attachment to be righteous and making others righteous, of disciplining others and disciplining yourself, which is the sattvika, where a person tries to control all his enemies of lust, anger, pride, vanity, attachments, and greed. All these restrictions on the attention get lost, and you become a free person of complete wisdom. Your attention itself becomes dharmic. So you lose all your gunas and you become sadgunis, means virtuous, but not by discipline, but spontaneously. You become righteous spontaneously. Sometimes such people puzzle you, like Christ took a hunter in his hand and beat people who were selling things in the presence of God, in the sense in front of the temples. According to laws, we should not have temple. But this temple is a temple of a Gunati. And such a temple is a spontaneous happening, which is not to be analyzed, has to happen. The temper of the Devi on the Rakshasas, the killing of the Rakshasas, Krishna's samharas. Krishna is telling Arjuna that you have to kill all these people. They are all dead already. They all get explained because you go beyond. So it's the thief. Beyond, conditions arise. Only the one who can control is beyond. The one who is in it cannot control it. If you have to pull out a ship, you have to be on the shore. The one who has gone beyond can only do that. So you go beyond, that is a thief. But when it comes to the knowledge, about such a person, you cannot think, because such a person is beyond thinking. You cannot describe, because such a person cannot describe. You cannot say why Socrates agreed to take the poison. Why Christ agreed to get crucified. That's beyond human comprehension. That's how you behave beyond human comprehension, and you are not to take certificates from human beings. Your certificates come from God Almighty and not from these human beings who are at a lower level. It would be like a dog writing about human beings. So you reach a state where it can be described with the word means without. Without. So such a person is without thought. He doesn't think. Such a person is without greed. Such a person is without lust, devoid of. Such a person is said to be ashamed, out of which nothing is left out. Like when you want to make a vacuum, you go on creating the vacuum, reach any point, but the vacuum cannot be complete because it reaches a point all the time where you find some part of it has to be remained. You cannot have a complete vacuum. But such a person has a complete vacuum. Vacuum of all the negative, aggressive qualities. Doesn't exist. Complete. Such a person is eternal being. Nobody can kill. Nobody can harm. Nobody can hurt. The anger of anyone or respect of anyone does not touch such a person. He is not disturbed by insults or non-insults. He is not related by praises. Because he is devoid of the capacity to enjoy the wounds of the ego. So the third state where he reaches, he gets the blessing of the word ni, ni. Ni is the first word of my name. But in Sanskrit, when you combine it with mala, then it becomes nirmala. But the word is ni. Ni which shakes little. Ni. That means sheer. Or when a R is added to it. But the first ni means without, devoid, and nira means sheer. Like when you say Nirananda, Niran, sheer Atma, sheer joy, Kevala, the only, there's nothing but joy. But this word is used, Nira, or ni, used in two forms as I told you. One for saying without or devoid of. The another form is the only, absolute. The absolute. So here the joy becomes nirana, absolute joy. Nothing but joy. Complete freedom. So you have all kinds of joys. As I told you before, you have Swananda, the joy of the spirit. Then you have got Brahmananda, the joy of well-being. You have got Leelananda or Krishnananda, where you have the joy of the play. But when you reach the state of Sahasrara, it is Nirananda. means sure, absolute. Though the name Nira is my name, it means absolute. So when you put such an adjective before anything else, it becomes absolute. Thus you become absolute. And when you are at that state of absolute, then there is no place for anything else to be there but yourself. But let us see what is absolute. That means it is not relative. It has no relative quality. Absolute cannot be compared. Atulaniya, it cannot be. It cannot be related to anything. It is absolute. It cannot be comprehended because it cannot be related to anything else through which we can comprehend. It is absolute. Whatever way you try to know it, you go away from absolute. Whenever you try to analyze the absolute, you are away from it. So this is what at Sahasrara you get, Nirānanda. In different stages of Sahaja Yoga, we had to start from Sharira Ananda, means the Ananda of the body. Manasa Ananda, the joy of the Manasa, the sight. Then you can say Ahankara Ananda, where you have to have the satisfaction of the ego. But the state has now to be established within us is of Nirānanda. Then what is the question of fear? What is the question of talking about it? You cannot talk. Because how will you relate it? I cannot say it is like this, it is like that. There are no words for absolute to discover. Only by negation, not this, not this, not this, what remains is absolute. So you reach the state of absolute. And that is the stage a complete communication is established. And in that communication, you have nobody else but the absolute within you. That is the Sahasrara Puja you are here. That is the level to which you should aspire. That should be the ascent which should be established within ourselves. We don't have to go to Himalayas. We don't have to do anything drastic. Remaining in this world, we have to become the absolute, the only, Kevalam. There's nothing like how for it. You just become. You just become like a flower becomes a fruit. It's all built in, within it. Allow it to work out. Just by surrendering, you become. Surrender, and you'll be surprised. You will be at the stage where you will enjoy your absoluteness. It is absolute love. It is absolute compassion. It is absolute power. The words stop. The description stops. You just become the absolute. I feel your absoluteness through it, with that oneness. If somebody is not with you, you don't worry. There is no company near. You are alone, enjoying the absolute. There only you can enjoy the absolute in others also, in the best form, without seeing anything else but the absolute. May God bless you. तो ध्यान नहीं लग रहा। इस टाइम पूजा करो मैं। I'm just in jhana, I don't know how to get out.